Hello, hello, hello. It is very cold outside, and it is 2:20. I did a late live stream tonight. I went from like 11:40. Well, I went from like 11:40 to like 12:40. So I went late. And then I ordered some stuff online because I never shop. And earlier today, I bought I know people are going to laugh at this, but I bought 2 fanny packs. I bought a Patagonia one that was $29, and I bought a LL Bean one that was $19. And, well, the Patagonia one I had to pay for shipping and handling. It came to like $41. But for music festivals, they're awesome, and I don't want to have to like find one at the last minute, because I feel like I just talked about this on here or somewhere. The last minute, I always buy one, and we bought these junky ones from Target. So I bought those this year, and then I bought a t-shirt. Was it a Venezuela t-shirt? I was like on Etsy shopping around, and then I bought the Sperry's that I've been wanting. I found them. So did a little shopping, which I never do, but of course it's things I kind of need, I guess. So yeah, it was fun. And then I went to Meijer, and I will show you what I bought. I'll do a little haul. I bought this Downy air freshener for our house. Febreze Downy air freshener. And then I bought, okay, so in my live stream tonight, I talked about how I don't wear socks in the winter, which I'm going to need to start doing. And my feet get cracked, and then they start bleeding, and they hurt. So somebody recommended that I get this O'Keeffe's Healthy Feet. So I got this O'Keeffe's Healthy Feet. And then I bought, I swear by these Yankee Candle things for your car. They make your car smell so good. And I got spiced pumpkin and Macintosh apple. And I'm going to use the Macintosh apple. And then I'm going to put the spiced pumpkin back here and use that at some other time. So those are the things that I bought, because I have one in right now, and I think it's like spiced apple or spiced pumpkin and apple or something. It's like a Christmas blend. And it is almost dead. It's like has no juice in it left. So I was just thinking about, like, Tanya and I usually go to Walmart or Meijer late at night together. Not this late. She doesn't usually stay up this late, but I don't like to go to Walmart. I like to go to Meijer because, number one, it's like dead in the middle. There's nobody there, and so I can just kind of get my stuff and get out. But like, she always wants to go to Walmart, and the reason she likes to go to Walmart is because at Meijer she has to self-check out, and she gets real frustrated doing it. And but like, I do not like going to Walmart late at night. It's so packed. It's still so busy, even at 2 o'clock in the morning, and people have their kids out, and I'm like, why do you have your kids out at like 2 o'clock in the morning? Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, I think that's crazy that people would have their kids out that late, you know, at night. But they do. And I'm going to try to finish I have 2 hours left of my book tonight. I'll probably finish half of it and then finish the rest of it tomorrow. The Christmas Room by Katherine Anderson. I'm ready to get done with it and get into something else. I'm bored of it. I mean, it's not bad. It's a good read, but I'm just kind of bored of it. Today was a good day. Alex went back to work. And then I didn't really have anything to do today. I made my videos. I got coffee. I ran some errands today. And then we had marriage counseling tonight. So we had a really good marriage counseling session. And we talked about the things that, like, moving forward that we want to work on in 2018, now that we have, like, our communication stuff, like, pretty fixed. Like, we were looking at, okay, so our session was all about the progress that we've made since we started and where we want to go from here. And I've talked about this on here before, about the 10 different forms of intimacy. And so we're going to start, like, every week taking a different form of intimacy and specifically working on that, like spiritual intimacy, recreational intimacy, intellectual intimacy, things like that. And if you're new to my channel, you don't know what I'm talking about. We had discussed earlier, and it's related to this book called Hold Me Tight. I can't remember what her name is, it's by now, but it's a book that we did in marriage counseling together, and about 10 different kinds of intimacy. It's kind of, I think she came up with the concept, but I don't think it's in the book. And that there are 10 different kinds of intimacy, and the more of these intimacy buttons that you push in your relationship, the more intimate you are with your partner, which makes your relationship that much better. And so, for example, like recreationally, if you guys are like on a bowling league together, or if you travel together, or if you read together, or whatever you're like, if you enjoy recreational things together, like Alex and I love to go to music festivals together, but you find more and more of those things to enjoy together. And then on a spiritual level, it doesn't mean that you spiritually are aligned. It means that you have more spiritual conversations, which we don't do a lot in our relationship because our spiritual beliefs are so vastly different. And then like intellectual intimacy is where like you sit down and you have like conversations about things, and we're pretty good about that as far as going out to dinner, but we're both of us like back on the trying to get healthy thing. Well, I mean, he has lost a lot of weight. He went to the gym tonight after our session, and then I came home and did he make a salad? I don't remember if he made a salad tonight. He is watching American Horror Story. I was so exhausted that I laid down for an hour. I ended up like going over and sleep. That's why I went on You Now so late. And then tomorrow I have some work stuff that I have to do, and I'm going to work on my book. And then tomorrow night I'm probably going to get together with Tanya because I'm taking the dogs to the kennel tomorrow night. And the dogs are going to stay at the kennel tomorrow night because they're getting bathed and nail trims and haircuts. They're getting groomed on Thursday, really early in the morning. So Boo and Tucker are getting shaved down. PB is getting a bath. They're all getting baths. And then they're all getting their nails trimmed down because their nails are so long. And so our wood floors are so dirty, you guys, from the snow and going in and out. It's like one of the things like that I hate about having wood floors. If you guys have wood floors, you know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, it makes me think like, oh my God, like if we had carpet, how bad the carpet would be, because I typically take my shoes off as soon as I come in the door and I put flip-flops on, but Alex doesn't. He wears like real heavy work boots, and he wears them like all through the house. And I'm like, ugh. And it's like we track in, it's not just him, it's me too, but we track in snow and all kinds of stuff. And then the dogs are like, their paws are tracking in stuff, and our floors are just, but then I'm like, okay, clean it. But then what's the point in cleaning it when like 2 days later it's going to be a mess again? We're supposed to get more snow later in the week. And so yeah. Somebody commented on my video when I was talking about my migraine disorder. I don't know if it was this one or if it was my other channel. I just saw a shooting star. I just made a wish. Somebody made a comment on my video, and they said, did you know that having, or the medicine that you take, a side effect of that is having really bad headaches? And what's weird about that is that I have migraine disorder, right? And I think I was talking in the vlog about how like Imitrex and Midrin don't work for me, and they never have. The thing is that there's a difference between a headache and a migraine. And if you have migraine disorder, you know what I'm talking about. Migraines are more like pressure, and headaches are like when your head aches. I don't know how else to say that, but anyway. And the weird thing about it is, like, when I read that comment, it's like sometimes like one comment can like really do it for me, And I started looking into it because I was like, I wonder how many, like, I'm just so used to waking up and my head hurting that I don't really think anymore or differentiate between it being like a headache or a migraine. And I was like, I wonder if that's true. And it is totally true that I found out that a side effect of taking Depakote is having headaches. And so I'm going to have to call my neurologist and see if there's something that I can take. Somebody suggested that I take, a friend of mine said they suggested I take magnesium chelate, but I don't know anything about it, and I'm kind of real sketched about taking things I don't know anything about. So if you guys know anything about magnesium chelate, say it in the comment section below and let me know. This little farmhouse over here has those like candle lights on every window. It's so pretty. I'm kind of sad for like Christmas being over because all of like the lights will be gone and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, like this one over here, this little house has like all the little lights around it. It's so pretty. Makes me kind of sad. I don't want to see like all of the Christmas lights gone. They're so pretty, aren't they? Did I tell you guys I started my gratitude journal? I did. I started my gratitude journal. Is today the 2nd? Yeah, because I haven't done it yet today. 2nd going into the 3rd. I was thinking about this today. I was like, I still can't kind of like believe that I have vlogged every day for like almost 400 days. Like, that's kind of surreal to me. Like, there hasn't been one day that I've missed. Not one day that I haven't done it. I don't know that I've been that consistent about anything in a long time. All of this stuff that unfolded about Logan Paul, you know, like, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but he uploaded a very disturbing vlog. This is my question to any of you guys out there that are like Logan Paul fans. Like, honestly, I'm not saying this to be a shit stirrer, but like, what is your interest in him? Like, I don't find him entertaining at all that 15 million people would follow him. Like, I just don't find him entertaining at all. Like, I don't get it. I really do not understand the attraction to this guy. But we all like different things, right? You know? And I'm not 22 or 18 or 15, so maybe that's what they like about him. I like still nights. We haven't had a fire in the fireplace yet. Like, that's something that I really want to do, is have a fire in the fireplace. I used to have them like every night. I just drove by here and there's like a restaurant over here and I was like, it's a chain, but in Indianapolis it's called Scotty's Brew House. And I was like, there's a Scotty's Brew House right there? Like, I didn't know that. It's so funny when you drive by the same things like every day, you know, and then you're like, one day you're just like, oh my God, I didn't know that was there. Oh my Lord. I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. I feel very calm. I feel like peaceful. I like just having those simple days, you know? We talked in our counseling session tonight about wanting to travel more, and we were talking about how, like, you know, when we take vacations together, we are so, like, into each other and just, they're so passionate, you know, and we just have so much fun. It's like two best friends that, like, I mean, because we are, you know, that are just, like, in love with each other, and it's just so, like, two kids, you know, like, falling in love for the first time again. And we always say, like, God, I wish we could bottle this and bring it back, you know, and we were talking about that tonight, like, other than traveling every month, which we can't do, it's not realistic for us financially or, you know, in the real world, it's like, how can we make our daily lives, and I think this is a good question for any couple out there, you know, it's like, how can we make our daily lives more like they are when we're on vacation, you know? And, you know, recently, because Alex has been off work for 2 weeks, since, like, the Christmas stuff, you know, he's had a lot more free time. I mean, he hasn't been completely off work. He's had a few meetings he's had to go to, but, you know, we've spent a lot of time together because, we've just, like, had a lot more time. But, like, one of the things that we were talking about is, like, when we're on vacation, like at least every day, we'll lay in bed for like an hour or more, you know, and just talk and just lay there together, you know, and it's like very intimate, and like that's something that we don't do at home. And because, like, we get up and we take the dogs out, or the dogs are in bed with us, or, you know, PB has to have his medicine, or Alex gets up because he has to go somewhere, or I get up because I have to go somewhere, and, you know, it's like we're very, like, driven when we're at home. And so we were talking about, like, how to be able to, I don't know why I'm noticing more things. I'm like noticing this gym over here called Motion for Life. I'm like noticing other things I usually notice tonight. But it's like really like just taking time to spend with each other, you know? And not taking that time for granted, I think, is really important as well. It's weird. I usually go into the new year and I have like all these goals I want to do. Like right away, I'm like this, and this. And it's like this year, I feel like I'm kind of coming up with a goal every day. I will tell you, as far as the gratitude list, like I've done gratitude lists for a long time, and it's really funny because I used my Hunt a Killer journal because I bought that stupid box and it was so dumb. But I ended up getting a really nice journal out of it, so I'm using that journal for at least month one. I like went in there and I said like January gratitude journal and I dated it. And so anyway, I like the things I wrote down last night were so specific to like yesterday, you know, like laughing with Alex at brunch, or you know, like anyway, it was just very specific things. And you know, driving around with Tanya and talking, which is something I do a lot, but it really forced me to look through the day and see the small things and realize, you know, just like, you know, seeing the dogs run in the snow, like the small things that I'm grateful for, you know, or Pee-Pee being healthy yesterday, you know, and not coughing. And I was so cozy in bed when Alex was watching his TV shows, and I was like wrapped in blankets and the dogs were all around me. And it's like, you know, these small things that I take for granted in my life that are so amazing. And, you know, those are the things that truly, I think, enrich your life. And it was interesting because in my live stream tonight, I was doing these questions from this question book that I used to use when I worked in treatment. I would bring it into group therapy every once in a while. And one of the questions had something to do with like, what is more meaningful, actual experiences or the memories? And, you know, that's an interesting way to look at the world. It's like, is the actual experience when it happens, does it mean more to you, or is it the memory? And what's interesting to me about that is that a lot of times I don't even realize until after the fact how meaningful something was to me, you know? Like, I don't really even recognize the pertinence that it had in my life or why it was so meaningful, you know? Or, you know, like when I'm in the middle of like Tanya and our friend Liz and I in the car and we're laughing so hard we're crying, like I'm not in that moment going, God, I really appreciate this moment. You know what I mean? I'm just living it and enjoying it. And I think that that's how life should be. It's only afterwards that I look back on it and I'm like, you know, like, wow, this is really incredible that happened. You know, like I missed that day. Like that was such a fun day. And I'm going to say something, this is kind of a blanket statement, and I know a lot of people probably won't agree with me, but I think if you're like over the age of, let's say, like, so Alex is 33, so I think you'd have to be like late 30s, early 40s. Like, you know, we grew up in an era that social media did not exist, right? So I think your perspective of the world is different when social media doesn't exist. You know, I'm very like millennial minded when it comes to like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of, I mean, I don't really get on Facebook. I hate Facebook, but I mean, I don't hate it, but it's just like not my cup of tea. But you know, Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and stuff, I think we're very like, I think we're, the millennial mind like wants to instantly go, oh, this is a fun event, Snapchat it. Or if you're at a concert, everybody's Snapchatting it or putting on an Instagram story. Or, you know, it's like when you go to a concert, it's just millions of phones being held up. It's not this moment that people are just enjoying, you know? And the reality is none of us are going to be dying with our Instagram profiles linked to our legs. I mean, we're not taking that stuff with us. And so really what we're saying is, me too, I do the same thing, so I'm not passing judgment on anybody, but really what we're saying is that we want the validation of other people about how exciting our experiences were to the world, you know? And I think about back in the day, like we took cameras with us to concerts, but if we were going to take a picture of somebody, it was like we wanted our picture taken with Stevie Nicks, like, period. You know, it wasn't like, or we were taking pictures of us being foolish or something like that. We weren't taking pictures of the whole night and putting it on Instagram, and there's shooting stars all over the place. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so like, I'm trying more and more to not pick up my phone in those moments. Or like on New Year's Eve, like I Snapchatted for like a 5-minute period, and I did a lot, and I did us dancing, and I did us ringing in the new year, and then that was it. Like I didn't do like a whole lot that night. And because I think it's important to just enjoy the moment, you know, and not get really, you know, into this whole idea of having to show the world your moment. And I think that we don't even realize that we do it, and I do it too, you know. And you know, I think like it's funny because I was standing outside and I was talking. So my friend Erin was there, and we were standing outside talking the other night, and at this thing, and her cousin was with her, and her cousin's friend, or her cousin and their friend. And these girls were so real, and they were telling these stories about their kids that were so funny. We were talking about going to expensive restaurants with kids, and like sometimes I like to, as a man that doesn't have children, like, you know, go as couples. Like I don't always, although all of our friends' kids are very well behaved. And this one mother, she looked at me and she goes, "Do you think we want to take our kids with us?" She's like, she goes, "Who wants," because we have a friend of ours that like, it doesn't matter if we're going to a steakhouse where the meal is going to be $150 a person, she wants to bring her kid. And I'm like, I made a comment one time and I said, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. I shouldn't have brought this up on my channel. Hold on a second. Let's just hope you forget it while I'm talking about this.
I was supposed to know my store for about 30 to 45 minutes. It's one day.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to be getting my Diet Coke. So anyway, see, here's what they look like. Do you see the Yankee Candle things? Anyway, I made a comment a couple years ago. My friend's still pissy about it. I don't really care. And, I mean, like, anytime we make reservations for dinner, she's always like, I mean, it's not a problem if I bring my son. So anyway, we were all going to an expensive restaurant one night, like a very expensive restaurant. And I made a comment and I said, do you think that we can maybe just not bring kids just one time and just do couples? Like, do you ever have that one friend that will never let you forget what you said? Okay, she doesn't bring it up, but let me just tell you, our relationship has changed greatly since that moment. Whatever. I maybe wish I hadn't said it that way, but I won't take it back how I felt about it. So anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, and when I was having this conversation with these girls outside, they were so funny, and they were like, we don't take our kids to expensive restaurants at all. Like, and I said, you know what's interesting to me about it is, like, when I was growing up, like, for me to go to an expensive restaurant with my parents was like a treat, okay? Like, it wasn't something that we did just all the time. And if we did, we dressed nice, we sat our ass at the table. No, we didn't need any books. No, we didn't need any tablets. You needed to act like an adult and sit there, or you didn't have any business being at the dinner table. That was how I learned to be an adult. That's how I learned to grow up and have manners, okay? I didn't sit there and play video games and read books and cause other people's, you know, and listen, and I have friends of mine whose children come and they bring books, and you know what, I'm totally fine with the books and the tablets and the video games as long as they're silent and all that kind of stuff. I think it's fine. And I have a lot of friends of mine, and people, this is where people think like, oh, you don't like kids. I love kids, I do. And there's a time for kids to be rowdy, and there's a time for kids to play and be all over the place. It's not in the middle of a restaurant. It just isn't, period. And the parents that let their kids run all over a place when somebody's trying to enjoy a $100 meal, which is expensive as shit, here, this is to my friend, and let your kids run all over the place and splash water in the bathroom and all that kind of shit, then no, your child doesn't need to be with us at dinner. I'm sorry. And if somebody's never said it to you before, I'm saying it. Why did I go down this road? I don't know. Anyway, but we were staying out there talking, and my friend, this one, Erin's friend said, or her cousin said, my kids love Happy Meals, and all they want is some chicken nuggets and a toy, and that's expensive enough. And Erin goes, amen. She goes, that shit, fast food's expensive for kids. And they were like, you know, we like to take our kids out to nice meals as an experience for them to have, but like only if they behave, and we don't like, you know, whatever. And so it was an interesting conversation. But the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, like, this would be a really funny video to do. Like, and that's even where my mind goes sometimes. Like, I'm going to use this in a video, or like, this would be hilarious to talk about in a video. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really just sitting there enjoying the moment. That was what the whole purpose of that story was about, not me trying to back my ass out of this comment that I made to my friend 6 years ago, and she still has issues with it. Do you ever have that friend? It's like, girl, get over it. He's in high school now, okay? Your child's in high school. Bring him to dinner. I don't give a fuck. He doesn't even want to go to dinner with us now. He wants to hang out with his friends, you know? This kid was always well behaved. It was nothing about that. I think it's also because I grew up with a mentality of, like, I had a lot of, like, babysitters. I had a lot of, like, old lady babysitters, that, like, whether my parents were, when they were together or when they were separate, like, there were, like, like on a weekend, on a Friday and Saturday night, like, one night would be my mom going out with her friends, and another night would be, like, my mom staying home with me. And with my dad, if it was his weekend for me to be with him, that very, very rarely ever happened, because he would just have me for both nights, because he had, like, a whole weekend off. But, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I think it's important for parents to get out. I think it's important for parents to have date nights. This one couple that we were talking to, this was interesting. Did I talk about this last night? They said they had just moved here from Chicago. And they said in Chicago, it's interesting because nobody brings their kids to things. And they had gone to, like, the Indianapolis Colts, the football team. They had gone to, like, a Colts football team party, where everybody was watching the game. Well, they got a babysitter for their 2 kids, because in Chicago, nobody brings their kids to a party like that, right? Well, they get to the party, and it's all kids. And not that they cared, but they were kind of surprised about it. They were like, I can't believe that everybody brings their kids to, like, drinking parties, like, where people are sitting around drinking and stuff. And I do think it's more of a Midwest, kind of, like, not city like Chicago, but I do think it's more of a Midwest state of mind that we involve our children with everything that we do. And I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it, because, my parents lived in Chicago. They lived in the city for a long time, but that wasn't how I was raised. I just was raised with, I don't know. I had babysitters, and I had great babysitters, and I loved them, and they were like, older aunts to me, because they were, like, older than my aunt, and they played games with me and read to me, and it was just, it's good. It was, I don't know. I think it's sketchy now. We don't know who to trust our kids with, and I think that's got to be scary if you're a parent, All of these reasons factor into why I choose not to have children, partly. It's all a lot. And like, the number one, people are like, you don't like kids, that's why you don't want, like, no, they ask me, is the reason why you don't want to have kids because you don't like kids? I love kids. If you see me with my nephews, I love kids. The number one reason why I would not, well, number one, it's expensive as shit. Number two, if I was going to be a parent the way that I think I should be a parent, I would want to live in the right school district, have the house with the yard, live in a neighborhood where the kids had a lot of, like, neighbors to play with and have fun. I would want to have them involved in arts programs and sports programs. I think all of that's vital. I would be such an overbearing parent that it better be my number one priority in life to be a parent, or I have no business being a parent. And I have worked in my career with so many parents that fall short by a landslide. Not like, it's one thing to work and be busy and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about not being invested in your child's life at all, or have any idea who your children's teachers are, or what school they even go to. I can't even tell you how many parents I've talked to that have been like, I don't even know what the name of their school is. I'm like, you think that's maybe a problem, that you don't know your child's school? I mean, it's down the street and to the left, and, it's just like, oh my God. So I know who I would be if I was a parent, and I would be that parent that was so overbearing and in my child's life that I don't want that to be my life, And I've always said, if Alex changes his mind and decides that he wants to have kids, I would adopt with him, or have a surrogate. I would. But then our life would change drastically. It would be, that would be what our life would be about. It would be about being that parent. My camera's about to stop, so I'm going to stop it, and then I will be right back. So, I mean, like, if we decided to do that, that would be that would be what our life would be about. And that's what we've had talks about, is like, we would move. We wouldn't live in a condo neighborhood that's like all 75-year-olds. We would live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of kids and it's a good school district. And, I mean, like, I think that's important. I think those conversations are important to have. And, You know, and then I feel like I've known so many women personally in my life that had kids like at 16 or 17 or 20, and it's like they're incredible parents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if maybe they weren't for like the first 5 or 6 years, like they've really grown. They're grown up and like taken responsibility, and they're really great parents. But at the same time, it's like you can tell, I just feel like they've missed out on part of their life. Like, had they chosen to get pregnant later, they definitely would. And I see the same thing in fathers too. So it's not just mothers, but it's like, well, maybe if we could have waited till 25 or 30, that would have been incredible, you know, but we chose not to do that. So I don't know. I think that people need to think through their decisions a little bit more. I don't think we think about that stuff very often, you know? And I think there's something like, okay, so you guys know I watch Brittany and Baby. She's the mommy vlogger. And like, I watch that and I see like, you know, how invested she is, and even just thinking about like what she wants to put in her children's lunchbox and what they'll eat and what they won't eat. And so she doesn't pack certain things, but then other things she wants them to have certain proteins or vegetables, so she packs those things. And like, that would be who I am as a parent. And I think that's pretty probably obvious in all of my videos, that I'm like, I really think things through. And so like, I don't know that I'm like, I think I'm too selfish. I really honestly think I'm too selfish, that I don't know that I'm willing to trade off, you know, driving out of town in a moment's notice, or being up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't do this as a parent. So I think we all make sacrifices in life depending on what we want. And this is what I want, you know, I like this. And although my life may seem crazy to other people, it's what I enjoy. And I think that the really amazing thing about life is that we get to define and dictate what our own lives look like. Somebody in my UNAV stream tonight said, you have a crazy sleep schedule. And I said, it works just fine for me. You know, like, it works just fine for me. I take a nap. If it's 10 o'clock and I'm tired and I want to drive around till 5 o'clock in the morning and listen to my audiobook, I take a nap, you know? My husband doesn't have any issues with it, and it is what it is. So, and I think you have to make yourself happy in life, and that would be, oh my God, I have this, so I bought Macintosh apple, you guys, and it's literally, have you ever burnt one of these Yankee Macintosh apples, or not burnt them, but lit them? Like, they're so strong. Oh my God, my whole car smells like a Macintosh apple right now. But I think you really have to think in life about what you want. Like, this is not a dress rehearsal. We get one life, okay? And I mean, unless there's reincarnation that we're not aware of, or other life cycles that I'm not aware of, or whatever. But let's just say, for practical purposes, there's only one. We only have one life that we're aware of, right? If that's the case, then we really have to make our lives the most. There are a lot of people out there that want to be mommy and daddies. You know, there are a lot of people that, you know, want to live on a farm. I would love to live on a farm, well, like not a working farm, but, you know, like, there are a lot of people that want to live in the city and have that fast pace. That is not for me. One of the reasons why Miami is so attractive to me is because it feels like you're living in the city by being by the ocean. And so it's kind of like, it's kind of fast, but not fast. You know what I mean? And, I don't know. I just think that there's like, you have one life. What do you want it to be filled with? What do you want your life to speak of? You know, it's like I said the other day, you know, at the end of your life, I think on a compassion level, you have to think about when somebody is at your funeral and they're like speaking about your, you know, giving your eulogy, what do you want them to say about you? Well, okay, but also, what do you want your life, what do you want to have done? You know, like, I am more of an arm seat traveler, you know, like reading books and watching movies and things like that. But whenever I'm like with friends of mine that like, they're like, oh yeah, I just got, you know, back from a month in like India, you know, we traveled all through India, and I'm like very jealous of that, like, or envious of that, you know, or somebody will say, oh, I just went to Australia, and I, you know, like, we went all over Australia and we were there for 6 weeks. Like, I'm jealous of that, because I think there's a part of me that really yearns to be that world traveler, and I'm not, and fear holds me back from accomplishing a lot of my goals and bucket list things that I want to do. And I'm always like, oh, that's not possible, or it's too expensive, or we have the dogs, or we have the house, and things like that. But there's a lot of things we can do, you know? Alex and I have two very good friends of ours that they probably financially are about the same status that we are, make about the same amount of money that we do. And because that's always my first thing is, oh, it's so expensive to do all this traveling, right? Well, they also have two dogs. I think they have two dogs. They have a little house they bought a couple years ago. They got married a year after we did. They were at our wedding, and they travel like twice a year, and they go on they do marathon running. So typically where they go will have some kind of marathon that's going to happen. But they go to last year they went to Chile. You know, they go to they went to Peru. They go to these amazing places. They went all through the south of France a couple years ago for 2 weeks. And it's not they have somebody watch their dogs, you know, they pay their bills before they leave. They do it in a way, they rent an Airbnb. You know, it's it's affordable for them, and they get to travel. And I think I really, in 2018, one of the things that I have to do is I have to push through my fear that stops me from doing those things, you know, and saying, oh, well, this can't be, to, yeah, let's make this happen. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say, but not allowing fear to stop me from living my best life possible, because I do. I allow fear a lot of times from doing that, you know, and irrational fears. I mean, I can't even tell you, at the moment that Alex is okay, let's book this trip. He's always looking online, and he'll find some flight to Spain or something, and he'll say, oh my god, it's we can get $99 flights to Spain and go for 4 days and come back. And I'm I immediately am you know, and I don't even know, I can't even identify what that fear is about. But $99 to go to Spain for 4 days, to put the dogs in the kennel. Tani doesn't even charge us. It would cost us, you know, really what, $500 for the two of us to go to Spain for 4. Why wouldn't we? You know, that's the question I should be asking. Why wouldn't you go? Because I'm going to be tired when I come home? Okay. I'm tired all the time anyway, you know what I mean? And I think it's more about taking a lot of those opportunities and looking at them. And I'm such a creature of comfort that we start doing things and I get used to it. It's why we go to Miami every year, you know, because I love Miami and I get comfortable going to Ultra. You know, I was looking the other day about the place that we went in Mexico, and I was okay, maybe we could go back there again for our birthdays. And as I was looking at it, and it's an expensive trip, and as I was looking at it, I was why would we go back to the exact same place we went to last year when we could go completely somewhere else, and have a different experience? Why would we, yes, it was fun, we had an amazing time, but why would we not experience something different? You know what I mean? And it's why I don't read the same book over and over and over again, because I've read the story. And I don't know, but then there was a part of me that really likes, you know, going to the same places over and over again. My aunt and uncle went to Glen Lake, Michigan every year, starting with my cousin, when she was 4. They went with the same families. There was 10 families that went up there, and they had all these cabins in this area, and it was they went up there, and it was they went all through high school and everything, every summer. It was they went 2 weeks to Glen Lake. And my aunt and uncle had really good friends that they met there, you know, through their entire life. And that, to me, I you know, I like the fact of going to the same place over and over and over again. It's you know, I've talked a lot about on here that when I was growing up, my dad had a sailboat in Saugatuck, Michigan. And, you know, it was funny. It's you know, the end of August, early September, you know, we would dock the boat up and, you know, put it up for the year and whatever. And I never did that. My dad always would go up there late and do it. And, you know, that was it. And then March or April, I guess, you know, we would go back down there, and it was or, you know, I can remember going down there for the first time, in the summer weekends, and all the families that would come down from Chicago and Michigan and Wisconsin, and it was all of the same people that I knew, and it was a year later. You know, it was kind of like that To Kill a Mockingbird thing when Dill comes and visits. And there's a hominess about that. There's a comfort in that, you know, and I like that. So maybe that would be the thing, is for Alex and I to keep on, you know, we've talked about Ultra, do we not want to go to Ultra, or do we want to go somewhere else? But I like the idea of having the same thing that we go to year after year, and then maybe doing, you know, 1 or 2 other trips throughout the year. You know, we went to Miami for our anniversary in August. You guys know it rained every day. I think next year we'll do something completely different. We should have done something different this year. But we didn't know that. I mean, all of those horrible hurricanes were going to happen all over the United States. So we'll see, you know. It's fun. It's exciting to plan that stuff. We were talking about it tonight. We were talking about places that we want to go. I really want to go to Washington, D.C. I've never been. I can't believe I've never been to Washington, D.C. Can you guys believe that? I've never seen the White House. I've never seen the monuments. I want to go to the Holocaust Museum. I mean, there's a lot of places that I want to go, and there's a lot of things I want to see. The Holocaust Museum is very important for me to go see. I just want to walk around Washington, D.C. I want to see... I've been to Williamsburg, but that's been a long time. I've never seen... I would love to see Mount Rushmore. I would love to see the Grand Canyon. The last time I was in LA, I was 16 years old. But I think we're going to be going to LA in the next couple weeks, so I shouldn't really say anything more about that. Yeah, I mean, like, I just, you know, I think that those are really fun times for us to connect. I want to go to Seattle. I want to go to Washington, D.C. There's been a lot of YouTubers that have asked me to collab over the last year. I'm trying to figure out how to do, like, less work. Like, if, like, maybe where I could have a whole week where I don't have any meetings or anything. And then the next week, like, schedule all for that. And if that's the case, like... I really wanted to do a collab with Chris and Dylan from YO Russ, and I thought, you know, I could just go out for a long weekend. Alex would, oh my God, he would not enjoy going to Bozeman, Montana, but, or Wyoming, but I could go out there for 4 days and film a collab with them and just like hang out with them. They seem like really, really nice guys. I want to meet some other YouTubers. That's the one thing I really haven't done a whole lot of, is meet other YouTubers and hang out with them, and I think that would be fun. I would love to hang out with, like, Raw Beauty Christie. I mean, there's so many people that I would like to hang out with. Nick Avocado is back. I think he's moving back to the United States. He and I, for a while, he and I talked about when he comes back, he's in, like, Pennsylvania, about, like, that's, I mean, that's not a close drive, but it's like a 6 or 8 hour drive. I don't know. I just think that would be fun to do. There's like some animal out there in the snow, and it was big, but it didn't look like a horse, and it didn't look like a deer. It was weird, wasn't it? I mean, life is magical, you know, life is magic. And when you really embrace that and you see that, like, anything is possible and you can have this most amazing life, and, like, what do you want to do with it and what do you want to have? And sometimes for me, it's in the smallness of life. You know, like, I talk about this all the time, but, like, really it is. It's like today on a scale of 1 to 10, it was so funny. I was laying in bed, like, tonight after I got up from my nap, Alex was coming upstairs, and he goes, he like came over and gave me a kiss because he was like getting ready to take a shower, and I said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many loves do you love me? He goes, you're so silly. He goes, why do you always say stuff like that? He goes, 10, So anyway, but you know, I just had like such a perfect day today. I had such a perfect day. It was just so relaxing and calm and peaceful. You know, nothing crazy happened. It just was like peace of mind. You know, I went and I got that Chipotle thing from Noodles and Company. It filled me up. I didn't eat all of it. It was a nice dinner. You know, I sat there and I watched some log cabin building show on TV for half an hour. I laid down with the pups and I took a nap. You know, I had a great session with my husband tonight at counseling. You know, it was a good day. I had a really, really good day, and good. Oh, the little bunny rabbit. And you know, one good day after another adds up, and then you have a good life. And then you have to look at that and you have to go, wow, like, life is pretty incredible. And people comment to me or message me all the time, and they're like, but my life is so dark, my life is so depressed, my life is that, you know? And there's a difference between being, like, having a depressing life and being depressed. I mean, being depressed is a clinical diagnosis, and if you feel that you are depressed, that you have such overwhelming sadness, you know, or just a feel of hopelessness, then you need to go see somebody for that, okay? And, you know, see if a medication is an option for you, or if talk therapy is an option for you, because there's no reason to continue to feel that way. If you're in a situation where you're going through a breakup, or you're grieving somebody's death, or a loss of a relationship, or a loss of a job, things will get better, you know? And that's where things like the gratitude lists can really be beneficial, because it makes us look at even the small things, like, oh my God, I had a really good cup of coffee today. It doesn't have to be deep. It can be that small, right? And then what you realize is, wow, I had a really great cup of coffee today from my Keurig. There's somebody homeless that had nothing to drink or eat today. You know, then it puts your whole life in perspective. And when you do that, it's like, I guess I don't really have as much to complain about. And then, you know, you live with this, like, you know, I don't want to steal the words from the Oprah show that I was watching, but like this abundance in your life of joy, you know, because what you do is you look at your life in a completely different way and you see it for what it is, which is being full of gratitude, full of these small moments, full of these small things. Very few of us are going to have Oscar-winning moments in our lives throughout the entirety of our life. Okay, that just doesn't, I don't believe that even happens to the greatest of people that have the greatest of lives the way that we perceive it, you know, like Julia Roberts or George Clooney or whoever, you know, like, or you know, Olympic winners and things like that, Olympic athletes. I think, you know, they have their moments that feel like epic, but then really it's the smallness in between. And I think sometimes for those people it's even harder because you have such high highs that you don't know what to do with it when the sound is turned off and nobody's looking your way and you're sitting in your kitchen just drinking a cup of coffee. And I think that can be really, really hard too, you know? And so I think it's about like really noticing those things on a daily basis to where you get tuned into respecting the simpleness of your life. And it's taken me a long time to do that, you know, and I'm there and it's nice. It's like just even the smell of this apple, you know, Macintosh, you know, Yankee burner, or, you know, having a good Diet Coke or whatever. It's like, you learn appreciation for that stuff and it's fantastic. So I just passed my mother-in-law's house. They get back from Florida tomorrow, where they have been at Disney World and all kinds of things, so I can't wait to hear about how that trip was. Anyway, I hope everybody, I hope not everybody, I hope, because I know not everybody will, but I hope a few of you out there will do the gratitude journals and see if they work for you. I think they're really a cool idea, you know? All right, I'm gonna go and listen to my audiobook, and tomorrow, we're all gonna get up and we're gonna live our best life possible. I love you guys. Bye.